please. Thank you. Have you met him before? I'm aware.
Practicing.
I forgot that he filled in on the executive committee.
That's right.
Things are firing and all going every day these days.
It's Tuesday. I think Tuesday's actually working all day long.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But at least I'm getting sleep these days.
Hey.
Maybe sleep that. Oh, yeah. It's like a full thing.
Overnight or 6 hours, come on.
Well, yeah, he's like, he gets up once in the middle of the night, but, you know, unfortunately, it's mom's deal to feed him.
Yeah.
He's equipped, so. All right. Let's call to order the Marble Valley Regional Transit District Executive Committee meeting for Tuesday, May 5th at 9:07. Get a motion to approve the agenda unless there's any changes needed.
I think we need to add a few things. There's some things to be voted on, like the CDR. Should we?
Okay, for interest to the board.
If we're if we're gonna be rolling our CDR, we're picking the interest rate. That's something, I'm sorry, I don't.
Yeah, so
How much you
ultimately
guys-
this for this committee only recommends to the full board. So I mean, it's, if we're doing all this as a suite today, it doesn't hurt to do that. If it's something we're reviewing already today.
Yeah, we're gonna be adding that to the agenda.
So CEDAR will go.
Yeah, I think the other things are just confused, right?
Yeah.
And we're gonna be going over their projection and
The rest are more informational and.
Yeah.
Is that?
The letter to the 250 board, does that have to be added to the agenda, or that's just on the other business? That would be,
Other.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that would be okay, because that was sort of an action from the last meeting. We don't need technically to approve anything, but we can talk about it. All right, so we have an amended agenda. Was there a motion?
Motion to approve as amended. Second.
All right. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thanks, Ethan. Approval of the April 7th minutes. Are attached. Entertain motion?
Motion to approve. Second. That's one.
Any discussion or debate? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Excellent. Okay. Open to the public. Hold on. P&L report for March.
Yeah, this is our final P&L for going through March 31st. We've just been billed and put through. Actually paid. So it looks like we're looking at a bottom line of $53,000 to the good. So far in March, you'll see one thing, one miscellaneous expense that has come up. It's the $140,756. That was the repayment of the overbilling from fiscal year 25 that we had to put through. And it chopped us off a little bit. So far, if you look at the percentages and where we are with the budget, we're actually doing, I think, fairly well, keeping in line. It is a little difficult in some areas because we've been doing a lot of breaking up and moving things around. But overall, I think we're doing fairly well versus budget. We just ran out of state money, the state PTG. But we still have money left that we will last through June for the federal grants for ops admin PM. We pretty much ran out of the grant for O&D, the money they gave us, but I believe some of the adjustments we've made and other things that will give our O&D in full through June 30th. Doing well in donations for $500,000 over the budget.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah,
Whoa,
you know,
it's working.
Tyler's been leaving us over 8,000, almost 9,000 over in advertising. Tyler's been working diligently selling bus wraps and things like that. So all in all, I think we're coming around and I think we're doing well. I think we're on the right track, let me put it that way.
I mean, in more ways than one, right?
Yeah.
I mean, just being able to see it and understand that we're on the right track.
Yes.
Is being on the right track, so.
I was just gonna ask, because it's eye-opening, the over expected on the donations and the advertising. Is it because of the activity of the staff of the bus? Job well done, and that is nice to see.
It also does have to do with the rate change, so.
Yeah.
I think
Well,
it's
correct.
No, it's nice to see.
Both.
The right change, but it's good to have somebody, you and Ron negotiating and saying,
Absolutely.
hey, you guys, your ski passes went up an awful lot.
Yeah. And you're happy to work.
Putting our hands out a little more than, because we need to. In a nice polite community way.
Does that donation number include any new donations?
There was some increases to the winter, services that we did that we weren't expecting.
They added a late night bus.
The late night bus, and also the second shuttle.
No.
Our original budget was based on the 65, so the 100 is, it's really very
That's what it
steep most of that.
Plus a few odds and ends. Okay.
Yeah. And that could work. I don't want to downplay that.
I was gonna say.
It's all,
So just left.
it's all marketing. Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's all well.
Okay. And how's, I see MTI, how's that spend down going? It looks like.
Good.
Moving
We are-
through it.
Yeah, I just sent out another bill for about 21,000.
And this is covering marketing?
It's covering volunteer retention.
Yeah.
And sure Tyler and Chris can speak more of it.
Yeah, it can cover the training attendant that will be hopefully starting very soon down at the transit center as
Yeah, I
well.
saw the ad for that.
Yeah, and any sort of marketing related to how to learn how to be on the bus if you're a first timer, nervous riding, things like that.
Oh, yeah, like an ambassador.
Yeah, exactly.
How is our volunteer pool?
Good.
Yeah,
33.
wow,
Yes.
that's like bigger than all of them before, right?
Yeah,
Or
This is the most we've had here. RCT has its week, I'm not sure what their number is, but
Yeah.
they have 2 full-time volunteer coordinators, but that's their only thing that they do. So,
That's curious, yeah.
so,
So that's gotta make me feel good. Even when we had all the OA and D partners, did we ever have a handle on how many drivers they had?
yeah, they didn't disclose, especially Bridges, I don't know how many they
Yeah.
had. I think 1-to-1, maybe had 12,
Okay, so this could,
consistently, but.
this could essentially cover all that and show you how efficient it can be. That's
For sure.
great.
For sure.
Oh, that's so, yeah,
Great segue.
it's nice to be able to say I told you so, right? Anything else on that piece? We'll move on.
Great, yeah, so that was a good segue. Are we still sharing? So you can say
Where are you going? Has everybody met Christy Boomer?
I mean, Matt definitely has, I know, yeah.
The program good. Yes, I think in passing, so we're gonna go over.
Serious right there, so.
I'm
That's not the treasure now.
That's fair. I'm not, and I still have to
Yeah,
put things up as
sorry.
well.
Just-
So, Jake asked me to do an OMB presentation. And, I'm aware not everybody even knows what that means, other than it's a line item, it's a grant. You're looking at numbers, so I thought it was important, especially because I know we have new board members coming on, to explain the entire thing. What it is, and we'll even start with how it came to be. This was interesting, I did some research, I learned some things as well. Back in 1975, this started with capital funding for vehicles. 1982, SSTA actually became the first in Vermont nonprofit, really more toward older adults and persons with disabilities. They were a one-man show, really like paving the way for things to come. 1990 is when ADA was passed that all public transportation vehicles needed to be wheelchair accessible. So in 91, the federal funding doubled. And they were sharing money from the federal highway programs to be able, sharing that with public transportation to be able to purchase vehicles with lift assists. And actually in 2004 is when the E&D program, it was previously known as elder adults and persons with disabilities. I think that's in trying to think when they changed that. It was like 2022, 2023.
Yeah.
They,
I think the original was elderly and disabled, and then it was
elderly and
like,
disabled, yeah.
then they started adding more words.
Like older adults might be, yeah, exactly. So, in 2004 is when this program came to be. And it was statewide, all agencies were going to be receiving funding for transportation for older adults and persons with disabilities. And in 2016 was when they first realized that there were some funding constraints and there was a high need for transportation for older adults and persons with disabilities. So that's first when they started looking at, well, medical over social and really having to hone in on what trips were necessary. And then, as we approach 2020s, really starting to look at the braided service model, which Devin was sort of talking about, like really just combining the program, bringing it in-house, sharing rides with ADA passengers, Medicaid passengers, and then also really honing in on our volunteers because they're least cost mode. So that's kind of where we're at now. Previously, from when P&D started to now, we've worked with several different agencies and organizations. Each of them received a percentage of the funding to provide transportation for their clients who were eligible for the program. Who pays for O&D? Well, it's a grant fund. We receive funding. It's administered through VTrans. They provide 80% of the funding, and Marble Valley is responsible for 20% local match or in kind. And previously, up until last year, this explains how the funding, how we were funding the partners and their programs. So we really worked with the Select 5 over the last several years. So, the grant was given to Marble Valley, was awarded to us, and we distributed those funds based on a percentage of what was being asked of those agencies based on their need for their clients. So as time went on, we started to notice there were duplicate clients, people in several of the programs, also duplicate trips. We were providing transportation for Council on Aging. Our driver would get somewhere and there would be a one-to-one passenger there as well. So we're like, ooh, we really could have, shared those rides and saved some money. Also started to recognize there were clients that were eligible for other programs such as Medicaid. So we really could have been utilizing the Medicaid funding and not taking from this precious grant. There was also a 20% payout to those partners who were managing the programs that had volunteers. So there's a lot of funding going to them in addition to the funding for the transportation. And Marble Valley was covering that 20% match the entire time. So in FY26, we really looked at following what was happening actually throughout the state. It's important to also recognize that we were the only one in the state doing it that way previously, where we were distributing it and not providing any of the transportation ourselves. So we just decided to bring it all in and obviously provide more efficiencies, shared rides. We're able to confirm everyone who's going to a medical trip, whether or not they have Medicaid or not. We're able to do those checks in-house. That 20% that we were giving to those partners now stays within the program, which is great. There's obviously a lot less admin time managing those partners and, finance before, having to see who's, on budget and all of that. We also are still honoring group trips. We are still partnering with those, other organizations such as ARC. And Marble Valley is continuing to, provide that 20% local and in-kind match. So what it is, what the program is, it's free transportation service offered to older adults, 16 older, or persons with disabilities who reside in the Department County. And so we provide the transportation with bus, lift assist vehicles or volunteers. We're always looking to, have our volunteers bring those folks that are ambulatory. We provide a variety of different types of trips, social, personal, shopping, non-Medicaid, medical, and so forth. And so the goal was to be just one call for all of your transportation needs in Rutland County. If somebody had an unmet need, they weren't sure who to call. And oftentimes we weren't sure who to refer them to with those different programs, weren't sure who specialized in what. So now anyone in Rutland County needs to go somewhere, they can just call the one number. Our customer service can verify which program they're eligible for, maybe several, maybe Medicaid and O&D. And then we schedule the ride using the least cost mode.
Have you, sorry.
Yeah, of course. No, this actually is, yes, please
Yeah.
interrupt, ask questions, whatever.
Have you heard, or through drivers or riders otherwise, that level of simplicity has been appreciated? Because I always looked at like the flyer and I was like, there's 10 different numbers here. How do you decipher all this?
Absolutely.
I'm just wondering if
absolutely.
we've gotten any positive feedback.
Yeah, and I mean, I think in-house as well,
Yeah.
Our reps, being, able to decide, who do we call, who specializes in what.
Mhm.
Yeah, absolutely. There's definitely been some good feedback on that.
Yeah.
And so, I think it's also really important to look at why this program is so important, why we're doing what we do. Without access to transportation, clients could suffer from extreme social isolation. They could miss essential medical care appointments, be limited to food access, could potentially miss educational or job opportunities, which can increase their risk of depression, chronic disease, malnourishment, economic strain. I mean, the list goes on. So really essential that we provide these trips. And, it's also unfortunate that as we start to near running out of funding, that we have to make decisions on what's important. Because, someone going shopping for food access versus a medical appointment, it's hard. It's really rough because it all matters. So again, we serve Rutland County residents. So just a little information about our clients. Our Rutland County population, about 60,000 people. 25% of that population is 65 or older, and 30% of adults in Rutland County actually live with a disability. So we're looking at really high population that we're serving.
And I think the state average is like 12, right?
I think the second highest, I think Burlington area might have us beat with the Asian population, and I think overall with disability,
Really,
the state,
really
we're one of the highest.
Mhm.
So we currently have 441 members enrolled in the O&D program. So I just thought this might be nice to see where they all live, where we're traveling to. 213 are within Rutland City. And then, we go as far out as, we have one in Whiting, one in Paulet, kind of scattered about. But yeah, just thought it might be nice to just see who's where.
What is this map based on? Just like the geography.
Counties, these are all the counties. So this is Brandon, Rutland City, although Brandon looks so big.
Yeah, it's like maybe these are census blocks or something. There's something different about.
That's not the
Oh, that's interesting.
But it's interesting.
Yeah, it does look, actually, now that you're mentioning it, it looks,
Because like.
they're not the actual.
there's A bunch of this.
Yeah,
Kind of makes sense.
Yes, this actually does, we'll have to look at why the map, this was just generated, so,
Oh, totally.
based on zip code. So yeah.
This
we'll have
is the first time in my entire time in this program where we actually have a number. Because even when we did the survey in 2020, we sent out like 800 surveys, I think, but so many were duplications that we never knew this number. So that alone is nice to know.
Mhm.
And I was just gonna ask, should a person enroll even if they have no immediate need to use the service? Or should you wait until you need transportation, then you enroll?
I would say until you need transportation, the enrollment process isn't very long. Most of the time, we just need a couple of days to get someone enrolled, do the paperwork and all the things that are necessary. And I think, there's also, they have access to other transportation as well, so it might be helpful to call. We always encourage people to call, what is your transportation needs and where are you going? And the reps, do their best to, steer toward public transportation first, of course, or those commuter routes. And then obviously door to door if needed. So more about our riders. Of those riders, the average age is 67. 389 of our riders are between the ages of 60, and our oldest rider is 96.
Wow.
52 of them are between the ages of 24 and 59. And of those, the mobility type, our wheelchair users are 57, which is about 13% of our riders, and ambulatory 384. So our trip comparison, and this is July to March, because of course we haven't finished the year. So our partners are here indicated in blue for FY25, and we're here in red. We provided 1,700 more rides for the non-Medicaid medical, which is amazing. That's a very high number. Overall, for those 3 quarters, we have almost 3,000 more rides than we did the previous year. And so these are just sorted by, these are sorted by category type. So, social trips, there's a couple that we have fewer. Our adult day, we started out the year with someone going to adult day. The closest one is Middlebury. And the gentleman didn't go for several months, but he just reinstated going. So I think that's why that number is lower, just because he wasn't accessing it for a while.
So cost per trip is way less. I'm blown away we're able to stretch 3,000 more rides
And
out.
that's just the 3 quarters.
Yeah.
That's just when you look at the projections of the dollars, and you think about the 6,000 more trips we're probably going to be doing.
I mean,
It's impressive.
yeah, where, do you have a hunch like where that is coming from?
I think the efficiencies.
Yeah.
I think just being able to, and folks can utilize Medicaid as well. I think there were a lot of clients using the non-Medicaid medical transportation and weren't aware that they had Medicaid. The partners didn't have the ability. They were supposed to be reaching out to us. I mean, and us putting that information in for them, but we don't know what we don't know. So I think,
As a result, have we seen Medicaid rides tick up?
I think it's been short.
No, didn't we?
Yeah, our numbers were because of the way the reporting was happening, the billing.
Oh,
It's a
okay.
little wonky with the per member per week count. It's kind of hard to
Compare.
tell with those, the clients, the unduplicated clients, but.
And the same number of dialysis patients generally as there have
Yeah,
been?
Yeah, for
Wow,
the most
I'm-
part, a little less.
This is
um,
everything we ever need to share with anyone to ask whether this was the right call.
mhm,
That alone.
For
that
sure.
is.
For sure, yeah, we are definitely able to provide more transportation.
It's
Um,
shopping.
Yeah,
That
Mhm.
is great.
yes. And a lot of our group trips go under the social personal as well. And you'll notice with the trips versus riders, there's quite a difference. So our grant spending, this was the FY25. The total cost minus the grant, partners were 265 overspent. Versus we haven't gone to the 4th quarter, but we're looking at our highest quarter, which was our last quarter. A lot more group trips. Group trips are increasing this time of year, so we do anticipate that it might be higher. Again, we are honoring, we told those partners for those group trips, we would do those trips. We would cover that 20% cost for FY26, and they would be responsible for that this coming year. So that's why we're anticipating and projecting it's going to be a little higher. So worst case scenario, if we have, a high month, we're about 1,000 less. However, our grant was a little more, so we're overspent a little less. So still overspent, but not as significantly. So just some fun data. Again, July to March, we're not complete through the year, but we've had 8,160 completed trips with 10,333 riders, which again, that includes our group trips. So, one trip could potentially have 15 riders. We do shopper trips, weekly trips, here in town for Templewood Court, the Sheldon Towers, Parker House. So of those this year, for the first 3 quarters, 318 trips with 794 riders. Below are the ARC trips. And so one-way trips, we broke it out, again, based on the spending, based on trips. We looked at bus versus volunteer. So overall, the average is about 72.54 a trip. Really, honing in and looking at bus versus volunteer, it's about 122 for the bus, 35 for volunteers. And then so far, for the first 3 quarters, our mileage is listed and it's broken out again by bus and volunteer. Whoops, wrong place. So what's next? What is the future of O&D look like? Obviously, we want more funding to be able to provide those trips. We don't want to be overspent. Also looking for more donations for the program. On our group trips, we used to hand out envelopes, just asking if anybody, wanted to make a donation, they could. If they didn't, no big deal, no pressure. But oftentimes, folks on those group trips were making donations, even if it was $5. We obviously do a lot of group trips, so $5 from everyone, would really add up. We're also talking about the simplified cost allocation statewide. So, really looking at how that's allocated among our organization, might also help. The group trips, again, they're going to be providing that 20%. We also have a new software coming, which is very exciting. A little stressful because it's a lot. It's the heartbeat of our transportation. This software.
Is it actually coming?
June 1st.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. They've been talking about this for years.
June
You're
1st.
listening to the pilot right now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
She's gotta make all the work around that.
Yeah.
Good
It's,
luck,
yeah,
Mary.
yeah. But I'm very excited about it because it has some amazing features. Just the auto scheduling alone, they're able to do an entire day in less than 10 seconds. Doesn't pull every trip in, but it pulls 90% of them. Same thing for dispatching. If a driver calls out, they're able to just click a button. Who could these rides go to based on cancellations and room between drivers' trips? We have a volunteer app coming. Again, will help with some efficiencies and time, less admin time and finance verifying those. Automatic reminders, there's all sorts of great features. We're also looking to inform our riders. As Tyler mentioned, looking for a bus ambassador. We've been talking in-house about travel training, certified travel trainer here at Marble Valley. Also asking folks if they, know about Medicaid. And what that process might look like for them, and just maybe suggesting, reaching out to, they have like an insurance assistance. So maybe, getting enrolled in Medicaid wouldn't limit them to those 4 rides that we offer with O&D. Critical care is the only thing we offer for unlimited trips, but currently there's a 4 ride limit or 4 round trip limit for O&D. So if they, got enrolled in Medicaid, they would be able to go to all of their medical appointments. Also really looking at volunteers, of course, the MTI grant, looking at recruitment, retention. We've been talking with RCT about statewide video. So really just trying to focus on our volunteers because they're our least cost mode. So the more volunteer trips we have, the more we can lower the cost. So really.
To add on to that too, also a statewide campaign is it Bobby over at RCT?
Yeah, talking about that right now, yeah.
He's actually looking to do a Maple Fields, kind of focus in exchange for a donation, all of us statewide, kind of showing off their branding, thanking volunteers.
Doing bus racks.
Yes, bus racks, thank you.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, it's not just a video for like our people, but for everybody else as well. It's great to bring out.
Yeah.
So I just
No,
want to.
that's perfect. Well, and then the hope is that they will provide donations to our volunteers, because we're limited to what we can do for volunteers because they're not employees. So we can't give any cash-like items to them, such as gas cards, as much as we would like to, especially with the increasing cost of gas prices. So working with agencies like that, they could provide the donations to the volunteers and we could still stay compliant. So our projections, we did just hear, our award is $675,000 for FY27. So this ideally is what we want our quarters to look like. However, we know just based on how we've trended in the past. We're, at least going to be 805,000. So our local match, we're hoping to get again from our group trips and some donations. So we just kind of met in the middle. We're really hoping part of our goal is to get that 13,000 from them, which will, help lower the Marble Valley cost. And then of course our grant. So we're still looking at 7,900, 7,900. Wow, 7,000. I can't. 792,000. Not enough coffee. And still being overspent 117,000. So again, our goals that we're really going to focus on is that local match, hoping to decrease our cost per trip by 2%. With all of those efficiencies and software and whatnot. So with more funding, efficiencies in education, we're hoping to provide more transportation to the OND members, even if it's not through paratransit, maybe it's through public transit, but really hoping to be able to serve those folks more. So thank you.
That's a great job. That's awesome.
Thanks.
So one of the big claims from our partners at the time was that like they had a much more direct relationship with the riders at the sort of like entry level point. Because they, like Bridges, they're at the hospital or community care network with one-to-one. In terms of getting folks, marketing the service to folks who may not have had it before, has that been an issue or prohibitive at all, or is it still happening at like at a similar rate?
So that specific Bridges to Beyond, they have a program called Ride Well, I believe, where they held on to some of their volunteers, and I think they're providing hospital discharges for.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's their own program, which is, I think that was the biggest concern for that particular partner,
Yeah,
that they were going to lose that specific type of transportation, which was noted from V-Trans, that's not what this program was for.
yeah,
That wasn't a trip type, hospital discharges, same day trips really wasn't the focus for this program, although certainly in need. I can't imagine, the hospitals being, overwhelmed with having folks there and not enough room. But it's my understanding that they have a program that they've still held on to,
okay.
and they're, I think that's going well. And so they still have a few partners, and we have taken on a handful of volunteers from those partners. Some have stayed on, some not so much, but
Okay.
Are the these partners still being the liaison to the community and directing them to us?
yes,
Okay.
yeah. Betty has been great at Bridges. Her and I have been in communication a lot with different clients, ARC, similar, referring people over.
I'm guessing 14, nothing changed at SVCOA.
Yeah, we still hear from them as well. Less so though, less so. I think most people are calling,
Okay.
and they're not needing that middleman. But yeah, the communication has been great with the partners and the relationship and the collaboration and things. Yeah, much
Do you think by the end of the fiscal year, is it worth sort of preparing a one pager to sort of share? I don't want to I just think closing that feedback loop would mean like, hey, we want to let you know that we have, as stewards of the program.
Sure.
We've done what we thought we were gonna do.
right, kind of a celebration of.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
maybe ease their minds a bit that this is doing what we thought it was, without rubbing salt on them, right? Because we're not trying to gloat, but we're trying to say, we did this for a reason and it's working.
Right.
We can do both, I don't think.
Yeah.
Speak to everyone.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I do think it's been successful, especially for the first year, kind of not knowing. There were no trip limitations before, so we started the year with 6, hoping that was, enough, but not too much. And then in October, actually, I guess it was November, was when we were like, we're really spending and, maybe bringing those trips down to 4. And obviously we make exceptions for folks, so it wasn't a hard fast, only for Yeah, I think we're gonna stay with 4 going into FY 27 and, you know, depending on those efficiencies, maybe we can increase that.
Great.
So,
Overall success.
yes, I would say, for sure. For sure.
Thank you, Chris.
Yeah, of course.
Let's. Procurement update. Anybody want that?
Yeah, so, just a couple updates on that. We are moving forward with the, demo, project. The demo is done. So now we're working, I worked with Ross McDonald directly. He said, green light, go ahead. So we're gonna be doing finishing off the project with the groundwork over in front of the maintenance building and the fencing. That was a carryover, so we're not gonna get too far with that, for the remainder of this year. But we are talking to vendors. Yes, let's see. That's the only major project. We've purchased almost all of our buses except for one still coming before the end of the year, for the end of the year, so. Some insurance buses, not really nothing to do. When we received our preliminary grant award numbers, we're still waiting on the capital for that, so I'm not sure what that's gonna look like, but we only had 2 buses on them for this coming year. Like I discussed before, that the plan to spread the procurement of our buses over the next 5 years to ensure in the future we don't have spikes of large swaths of buses that need to be replaced all at the same time. So that's a pretty brief update on the procurement.
Okay. Moving along. I guess we're into other business.
Do you want to do the CDR review first?
Sure.
Our CDR is, it's a $900,000 principal right now. I think we're gonna earn about $34,000 in interest on it. We'd love to roll over the principal of 900,000. And our Community National Bank representative has given us a 6-month option at 3.105% and a 12-month at 2.46%. So
So
we
dropping fast.
yeah, so obviously we'll probably go with the 6 months at the higher interest rate and, you know, gives us earlier access to the money just in case, you know, assuming balls and everything. But yeah, the rates are not great right now. CDRs are better than CDs. So we just, okay to move to the board to approve the rolling it over to the 3.115% 6 months.
Good. Is there a motion?
Yes.
Is there a second? Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Excellent.
Okay.
What is next? We have a lot of.
Now we're other business, so just some updates, we've been working with Walmart, the Walmart contract, between the bus and Walmart, was fully executed earlier, what, Tuesday, okay, yesterday. And, so we're all set there, that service will run from 8 AM or 9 AM to 8 PM on the hour, is what that's going to be doing.
That's a standalone bus?
No, it is, there will be an expansion on the last 2 run, or anything after 5, so the last 3 runs, and the rest is integrated with the RKC. Yeah, because we have downtime in the RKC, so we were able to utilize that bus and structure.
So it won't go on at the south route.
No. Sounds great. We did have some of that, we offered 3 scenarios and ultimately ended up on this one. The agreement is $112,476, so that will start in FY 28.
That's 7 days a week.
Yes.
Huge. That was their last piece of incomplete Act 250. Cause we had the whole Walmart team in 2 weeks ago to review the project at our board, and they said in terms of the outstanding Act 250 items, it was just your contract, and I knew you guys were working through it, so I'm like, okay, we're gonna be fine. So they should be pretty good then.
We were stuck on the marketing piece. There was a section that gave Walmart full rights to be able to determine if there was a competition marketing on our buses, and so we had to make sure that we could still utilize our brochures for donations. So that's the scanning piece, and we got it done, it's all set. So do you need the Act 250 letter? Is it?
So I saw you had drafted one at this point. I mean, I don't think we need to. Yeah,
So-
yeah, yeah. I don't want it to be all for naught, because I get it, you've spent the time on it, but if that's satisfied the incomplete portion of their application, then it should be, that's everything that they need. Yeah.
That's good to know. Okay, we did send out the preliminary grant award. Really happy with what we got. Wrote one in front of me here. So, you want to do this, or you want me to just run through it? I don't know if everybody got the chance to even take a spin on it. Did you see it? Okay. So basically, you can see that with our RJA, we've been funded the same way. Ops, we had asked for that 1.308, only 8/9,000 shy of that. So that's a really good number to come in at the beginning of the year, especially with the new government to follow up with this. Admin again, very close. PM, I mean, could probably fund the whole thing right there. And then we're not using CMAC at this time. Potentially in 28, we may go out for a request on that for the RKC's portion that serves Walmart. But that's to come. RTAF, we're maintaining a little higher than we were in historical years. And then TBD on the capital, like I said before, they did lower the planning a little bit. We should be okay with that. The planning is originally we were looking at master planning, but now we're looking at strategic planning. And then O&D, we're happy to see that we were awarded that 675, and then really happy with those state funds coming in at $1 million. That's definitely an increase that we like to see. That the $1,060,000 that we were asking for really does cover us for absolutely everything with the revenues that we're going to be generating locally. So thinking to ourselves, okay, are we 60.9 shy? Are we going to see that in the mid-year? How are we able to cover that or meet it head on or halfway? We'll see. So we're going to be working on that. But it's looking good. We were really happy when this came back to us last week.
Yeah, it's solid, really solid.
Yeah. Yeah, I think some of
I'm
the
really expecting that much.
yeah,
I really weren't.
some of the comments were just how willing and proactive we were last year, showed the state that we, really, we be as a business about moving forward and making sure that we're being fiscally responsible.
The progress is unquestionable. In terms of capital in FY26, what's the status of the sign package?
Good, I need to word those. They reminded me to word those yesterday, so I'm like, oh,
Okay.
I really gotta do that.
As long as that's allocated in this fiscal year, we're good to go, yeah. And then, feel free to tap Ethan on the installation. I know Ethan, you had a conversation with the city already, or no?
Yeah, I talked to Ted about it. He seemed to think there was no issue. Either the union would do it or they'd agree to a waiver for someone else to put them in, but it didn't seem like it would be an issue. It sounded like they'd probably be happy to contract it. There's just the union clause that says they have to approve if someone not in the union does work on the city roads, so.
Okay, I will shoot you an email later today to talk about that a little more. Thank you, Ethan.
Yeah, let me know. I connect you with DPW, so, but from their perspective, they were happy to hear they'd be getting nicer signs, so if they're all in favor of it.
More items, We have been working through follow-up letters to businesses from that original 50 business list, or 52 business list. I had one response back from the ones that I sent out saying that they were building their budget. I think it was amazing graphics.
Also,
Awesome graphics, reach back out. So maybe something there. Chemo's still working through, they're considering. We're working with Fidium, switching over our internet. They sent our donation sponsorship page to their marketing team, and they did reach out and are considering. I don't know if you heard it once.
they're still reaching out, so they get back to me, but
We're
we're still considering how much.
could be looking at a bus rack with that. So more to do on that, still working through that list. Fidium has gone through, so we're almost switched over. That should be, we're looking at a this year savings of like 3,000 to 6,000. We are still working through the fairs. There are pieces of that left, which is employee passes. It's a big piece that we're working on right now, and then the Medicaid fairs piece. We got a couple meetings this week over that, trying to make sure that Diva is on board with our reporting and building structure. So there's that. And then some grant updates from Tyler.
Don't explain so much. So, yeah, we got awarded yesterday the VECF grant, that is the Vermont Early Childhood, Vermont Education Child Fund. And that will be going towards our city backup service in the morning for micro transit, primarily towards kids trying to get to school during the school year, and then during the summer, it will be towards summer program, extracurricular kind of thing, so I can't think of the exact term. Daycare, yeah, but yeah, so very happy about that, and we're happy that we can return a service that was previously reduced at the beginning of the fiscal year, so should be starting it up in the next couple of weeks. We're just waiting on the funding itself now.
25,000, it should bring back an hour of the
So city backup service, 5 days a week during the school year, excluding any holidays or anything like that.
for a year. Right? That's going to be back. Granted, it's really nice.
Yeah, it's easy.
And that's all I have for other business.
Anything else? Yeah,
I was just going to say, with new members coming on, and sometimes I still struggle with the acronyms. I don't know if there's the master list for, the programs that we may be able to have a list of what the acronyms.
Did I just throw out an acronym, but I didn't?
Well, you did, and you defined what it was, and that. You did.
Yes.
And when you look at some of these,
Yeah, we can get something going with that, it's no problem.
Absolutely. Yeah, our RJA is recovery and job access in the revenue there. CMAC is congestion mitigation and air quality grant. PM is preventative maintenance. RTAP is
Training and professional, God,
We skipped a couple letters there.
oh my God.
Yeah, you don't know. It'd be nice.
that is for us to do labor and training in-house or.
I think we need the list too.
Yeah. Yeah, it's something good, something to work on.
I think we can adjourn 9:54 AM.
In the development of the Walmart, is there gonna be anything else on there?
Just,
It'll be nice to see that.
that'd be enough.
Hockey arena.
Good to see you.
Oh, yeah, hockey arena.
Hockey arena.